Alright, Cleo, we're going to go in there and we're going to do... Wait, what am I going to do? What type of skills and abilities do I have?
Well, I mean, I've seen you clean out the inside of a cup real good.
I don't think I have proficiency in cup cleaning, though perhaps I do.
Nah, you do.
Would be quite good. Boris, do you know what you do?
Not much.
I fly the Oh, no, sorry, that's Trevor.
Yes, that's Trevor.
Yeah.
Cleo, do you have any idea what you're doing?
Yeah.
You don't have any idea what you're doing, do you?
Yeah.
Alright, everyone. Let's, sorry. Pause the war. Pause the battle. We'll just be a moment.
Oh, jeez, guys, we're in the middle of a fight here.
Oh, does that mean we should stop firing?
Everyone stop firing, please, for one moment. We're just going
Where's my paper?
Yeah, everyone get out your character sheets. Let's figure this stuff out. What are the bloody rules here? Okay, I'm looking here. Boris, get your sheet. Everyone, get your character sheets out.
Can you write the number? I can't hold the
Was I
pen.
supposed to put hit points in here or here?
Oh.
That don't stand for hit.
Oh, yeah, I'm not too sure.
That's heck point.
Heck points. Yes, I'll take full heck points.
You can't just have them.
Oh, right. Alright, everyone, and you back there. Random oppressive force that we appear to be battling. Have you got your character sheets out?
I didn't know we needed sheets.
Everyone needs to have a sheet from now on. We're going to do this thing properly. Let's figure out the rules.
Hello and welcome, everybody. This is an extra special installation of that ongoing saga that we refer to fondly as being the Backwater Bastards in space.
Space?
Oh, here we are.
And we're in.
And we're back.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm your dungeon master, Dick Dynamite. I have with me today, as always, and not really playing a character. It is just
What?
Just Daniel. Just Daniel.
Just Daniel. Oh, it's just Daniel. It's me, just Daniel. That's how.
Debatable.
You know,
Yeah.
he does play the space jelly Dr. Z.
Oh, and I cannot wait to tell you all about Dr. Z and who Z is.
And then, of course, the troubled mind behind Earthsign Explosives expert Cleo. It is Taylor.
Bees.
What? That's
That was what was in me.
the bees. Well, you need to get those bees out, Tay.
Well, we have tried.
And steering this spaceship through the misty mountains that are asteroids floating out there in the void, through past galactic interstellar worms, it is the dastardly DM Dick Dynamite.
Thank you. I thought you were going to clap for a second there. But, okay. So why have we gathered here, folks?
Because we're going to play a game.
We got to play a game, but before we can play a game, you got to explain the game, right?
Yeah.
We got to set some expectations. Got to build some foundations.
Don't hate the player. Hate the game.
We got to talk about rules.
Exactly,
We got to
Taylor.
talk about what is, because that's what this is. That's what this episode here is. What is the Backwater Bastards?
What is it?
What is it?
What is that thing we call the Backwater Bastards? First of all, we're an actual play podcast, but we're also some sort of, like audio drama, improv comedy nonsense. But what we do is we play a game. We play a tabletop game.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
And it's in space.
It
and
is set in space.
It's basically we're beta testing. It's a closed beta of a system that I personally have been creating in my spare time called Orbital Refuse.
Oh, we got in there, Taylor. You and I. Closed beta testers.
Closed beta.
And at its core, Orbital Refuse, how do I explain it? It's I play a fair bit of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I liked some of it.
We even did
disliked
together.
a lot of it. Yeah. So I thought, let's throw out all the stuff I don't like, and what's left? It's not very much. So, So the first thing I thought was I don't like classes, especially if we're doing a space thing where you want to have aliens and robots and all sorts of craziness. We don't need classes.
We don't need
classes is unnecessary. So the way a character in Orbital Refuse works is they've just got one set of stats that is advantages and disadvantages. That's it. So anything that would be a skill, a stat, a proficiency, anything like that in some other game, we just call it an advantage.
Yes. It's super simple, but it's a lot of fun.
But it's a double-edged sword.
It is.
Well, yeah, when you make your character, you've got these points. You've got 3 points that you can spend on advantages. And advantages, they cost like 1 to 2 points. You don't get very many, but you can get more of these shiny little points by taking some disadvantages.
And that is how we played our characters. And when we played D&D and when we played other campaigns, we always like to play a little bit of a broken. Maybe they suck a little bit. You know, maybe they're not
Just
the
like
greatest.
us.
Exactly.
But it's a balancing act, you know, like you can have as many advantages as you want, but you got to cancel them out with disadvantages.
Yeah.
And it means you could make a really like a shockingly like bizarre character that was like really good at some things and really bad at other things. Or you could just sort of make a character that can do all the shit you like and this is a little bit bad at some of the things that you didn't really want anyway. Okay, so well, you know, you're looking at that, like you have the kind of the basic stats. So you got strength, you got speed, you got dexterity, and you've got durability.
Mm.
And I didn't put any intelligence or charisma because I feel like those are really different things. Like intelligence doesn't mean any one thing in the real world. So in this game, that's how it works as well. So your physical stats, you can have those increased or decreased. And say you're making a dexterity roll. You roll a d20. You know, if you just try and do something easy, then like the top half of that is basically a win. But if you've got the advantage of enhanced dexterity, then you get a +5 to that. So basically you roll a dice and you only need to get 5 or higher and you're winning.
So anything, if you don't have an advantage in a stat, is just you hit the 10, you're succeeding, but just. And if you're below the 10, then you're failing, but just. And then to the extremes of the 1, big fail, and the 20, big crit, that's where you're sitting.
Exactly. And then it just gets adjusted. So you've got an advantage. You've got a +5 on that. So you're going to win a lot of the time. Like you roll it, chances are you're going to succeed. If you've got a disadvantage, you've got -5. So you're usually going to fail it. So the whole thing is advantages and disadvantages. They really do seriously impact the way your character interacts with the world, the way your character is in combat.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to roll with that, for us, it's that dexterity sometimes that going to get in our way.
But then, yeah, okay. So that's that same token. I mean, taking one of those things makes a lot of sense, you know, like adjusting your stats to what your character's physical strengths and things would be. So maybe I'd go for like an enhanced speed and durability, but like terrible strength or something. You know, maybe why not?
Okay, so you're going to put just so that everyone can follow along. You're going to put 1 point into enhanced speed, but you're going to also gain a point back from taking bad durability. Maybe a frail body.
Yeah, let's say that. That sounds good. So I'm sitting at 0 points still, which is great.
3 points to spend.
Then you're going to need some sort of weapon proficiency, probably. You don't have to, but like it makes a lot of sense. So it's pretty streamlined. You've got your one-handed blasters, you've got your two-handed blaster rifles, you've got your one-handed energy weapons like energy daggers, energy blades, or you've got your two-handed like energy staffs, and that's it.
So basically, you're breaking things down into simple melee and long range and medium and short range weapons.
Yeah. So here's the other thing, right? All your one-handed weapons, for the most part, they all just have a d6 dice. You know, there can be modifiers and so on, but like generally speaking, a one-handed weapon, d6 dice, two-handed weapon, a d8 dice.
Okay.
Simple as that. Now, durability, the enhanced and decreased durability. Say I get poisoned and I have to roll. I'm getting a -5 on that roll because I'm using my durability. But not only that, it adjusts my hit points. So every single character in this world, unless they're like some sort of giant dragon or something, some NPC, but every like normal humanoid character has 10 hit points. That's it. Just 10 hit points.
Mm-hmm.
You take the decreased durability or you lose some. You only got 7. If you take
that's what I did.
You got 15, like Cleo. But that's it. There's only 3 different hit points you can ever have. Combat. I haven't really talking about combat, but I guess we should mention this. Combat, like, so this is the whole thing. Like when you've got a +5 and your chances of hitting are so high, there needs to be a counter to that. And the counter is contested rolls. So every person in the fight has, at the start of their turn, 3 energy. And they can spend that energy on their turn, but they can also spend that energy on anyone else's turn.
Yes.
And the only real caveat of that is when they're doing like attacks, like actual attacks, they have to do it on their own turn, and they can only do as many as they have weapons equipped.
Right. So I'm sitting here. You're coming at me with 2 blaster rifles, perhaps shooting away, and I could either just hope that you miss and do nothing, or I could use one of my energy points to start rolling away, start trying to dodge while you're shooting at the same time.
Exactly. So, say I'm coming in, maybe I'm running in. So I'm spending an energy point to move. Again, movement speed is a fixed amount. Unless you've got a speed advantage, then you can move further. It's all like, it kind of explains itself now that I've started. But I move in, I shoot one weapon, I shoot the other weapon. So I've used all my energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at this point, great. Like I could do a lot of damage to you, but you've still got your energy, so you could decide to just duck for cover, or like, lift something up to block yourself, or maybe you're telekinetic and you raise up a telekinetic barrier. There's all sorts of things you could do. Like anything you can imagine using your equipment and your skills. If you've got the energy to do it, you can just do it. It's a storytelling-based combat system. So I try to do something, I counter that with this thing. It's like that playground play of oh, you can't hit me because I've got wizard armor, but with rules to make it fair.
Yeah.
So let's say Dan, who you're shooting at, Dan uses all 3 energy doing something.
I'm spent.
Let's say he fires off a single shot back at you. He throws up a shield, maybe, just to cover himself while he runs, and he goes to hide. So he has done 3 things, and now he's out. When does he get more energy back?
Well, okay, we've got a turn order. When we get back round to Dan's turn, boom, 3 energy again. Easy as that.
Straight back.
But here's a sitting duck until that point. So if I've got another enemy that's going to come in and then you just run in and shoot him, Dan's not going to be able to do any major actions to defend that. So you got to conserve your energy when it makes sense to, and use it when it makes sense.
But
to.
perhaps I could reach out with my mind across and kind of just do the sad cat eyes to my friend Cleo, DeCap, and say,
Help me, please. Help me.
and could Cleo jump in with her action and join our little combat that's going on over here?
I mean, of course, it's my turn, but anyone who wants to, who has the energy, can act. They can get in there. So Cleo could leap in front and just take the damage for you, or she could try and tackle them and prevent the damage from happening in the first place. There's all sorts of things you can do. And it's basically, if you can imagine it and it makes sense, it's my job to, arbitrate on that and make a reasonable decision based on the dice rolls. Because, you could say, I do this and then roll a dice, but if what you're trying to do is impossible, then the dice can't let you do it, no matter how well you roll. The dice will only let you achieve something within the physics of the situation.
Okay, so what if, Dickie, I've got my shield up, I've used a point to activate my shield, I'm standing there in defensive stance, you're fired away, shit, you've hit, but I've got my shield up. What could happen then?
So now I'm going to roll for damage. You've got an energy shield, which is not even really a skill, it's an item that you can just purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Energy shields, as standard, have 5 hit points. So I'm going to roll my dice, and whatever I roll, say I'm attacking you with a blaster rifle, so I do 1d8 damage, and I roll an 8, maximum damage.
Damn.
Boom. Okay, your shield is obliterated, but it takes the shot for you.
Okay, and so is that still true if I had just 1 point of shield left? Would that still take the whole hit? Is there any transfer of damage through to my body?
No, it's just going to still take the whole hit.
Okay, it just disperses.
I realized it was a good balancing thing to do that early on, because if you're sitting on low health and damage siphons through the shield like that, it's no use to you at all. It needs to block things.
Yeah, it's fun, and it makes for kind of Hail Mary moves.
Why would you ever use an energy shield if you could just dodge? It needs to be just as good as dodging, so that's how it works,
So 1 pip of energy shield is still just as strong. If you can use it correctly, it can save you in a pinch.
But even better, say you only are taking little bits of damage, you just take 1, it just chips away at your shield and it stays up. So you can take lots of little damage or 1 big damage.
Yeah.
And then there's armor.
Yeah, so how's armor work?
If you had armor and you took damage, it just reduces the damage. So standard armor in the game reduces all damage by 1.
Cleo doesn't even have any. Initially, I wrote no armor because bear.
Yeah.
No armor because bear.
So Cleo and Dr. Z both standing there out in the open. It's that Tekken level where you do the training. Cleo's not got any armor on. I'm wearing a piece of armor. We both take a blaster hit. What is the difference between us? What happens?
Oh, it's simple. Say I roll a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Cleo takes 6 damage. Z takes 5 damage because he's got armor.
So can you get better armor that gives you a +2 or +3, or is that up to the DM's discretion, or is this...
That's definitely DM's discretion. I mean, conceivably, it's a thing that could exist in the world, but I've not awarded anything with serious bonuses to damage or armor or anything like that yet. The real sort of the balancing, the way I've been playing it, I really do like having very standardized numbers.
Yeah. Because
it forces the thing to be about strategy and storytelling rather than, crunching these numbers.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, the numbers, they stay simple and they stay the same so that you.
Everybody here's a professional artist, so guess what we got rid of?
Yeah, the numbers. I hate math.
I mean, I really love a system that's really complex and min-maxy, but Orbital Refuse is not that. Orbital Refuse is there's 3 possible numbers for
Yeah.
any one thing that you could do, and that's it. You're
Snappy,
either
fast.
neutral at it, good at it, bad at it.
Yeah. So what I'm feeling so far with these rules and these character creations is that there are no classes for what you could be. I can't be a healer. I can't be a tank. But it's about what you're wearing. It's the gear. It's the loot that makes you who you are.
But it's also kind of what you want to be, isn't it?
I mean,
like I
definitely, but-
wanted to
Yeah.
be an explosives
Yeah, I mean, the
expert.
advantages and disadvantages, they can do a lot, you know? I mean, you can give yourself a bunch, because you could be an alien species that, Dr. Z is a jellyfish.
You can have
I'm
a job.
jelly.
And
Yeah.
he's a psychic jellyfish. Or you can be what you want to be. So you could have like superpowers. You could be an alien that can fly. Why the hell not?
Why didn't we do that?
Be an alien. You can be an alien that shoots lasers out of their eyes.
Why didn't we do that?
Yeah, you could do it all with your advantages and disadvantages, and you could take disadvantages. So you could be like a Luddite who can't even use this fancy equipment, but you've got all these crazy physical bonuses.
Yeah.
So you can swing it either way. It's like warrior versus magic user.
But I guess what I'm getting at is like if I typically play a healer in a game and then I come to this game and I want to continue being a healer, then I just equip myself with medical kits and the type. And is there anything else I could do to kind of give me that feeling of a healer?
Well, wouldn't you know it? There's a medicine skill, medicine advantage.
Okay.
If you took the medicine advantage, then boom, you heal more and you heal easier. You can do like obviously just actual like surgery and medicine and stuff. But you can use like these nanobot medical kits. But I mean, as well, like, if you wanted to literally be like a lay on hands cleric healer, why couldn't you just have a mutant healing ability?
Oh.
Game changer.
Game changer stat.
That's where the game changer comes in really well, because I wanted to be a creature sleeved into another creature, which is some bullshit that I made up because it sounded cool to me. And like, I just wanted that. It wasn't in the list. Like, I couldn't pick that, but I asked for it because I wanted to have this sleeve engine that I carried with me that was like not very good, like a broken one. And that was kind of why I was poorly sleeved, and it explained my insanity disadvantage.
Yeah.
And like, I wanted that for story purposes. And, I asked Dick if I could have it, and he said yes. So on my character sheet, I also have this like minor game changer, the sleeve engine.
Yeah.
Why don't we unpack Cleo now? Like let's
do it.
before
Let's
we
do
even
it.
start looking at her stats and her equipment and stuff. Like, who is Cleo? What is Cleo? What does she look like? What's the concept behind this character in the first place?
There's the bear behind the tape.
We know so much more about Cleo now than we did when we made her. I feel like
Cast your mind back.
I know, it's like cast your mind back into 2019.
Yeah.
But as though we'd never encountered Cleo before, how would you describe her?
I would describe Cleo as a female humanoid that was sleeved into an ursine slaver, which was what we called them back then. I don't know if that's still what the species is now, but
I mean, they're still the Ursine, but they're big bears.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
but it's like a bear that walks upright and is, able to communicate. They're a bit evolved. They're a bit more evolved now than the ones that we know. And she is an explosives expert and a weapons master. So despite the fact that she's in a totally different body, that was what she did before, and that's what she does now. But because she's in this bizarre new body,
So Cleo is a human in this bear body.
Yeah.
And what advantages did you choose?
so I chose weapons master as
So
an
that
advantage.
just gives Cleo a flat +5 using any weapon.
Anything.
So that one did cost 2 points. So it's like, if you're ever going to take 2 weapon proficiencies, you might as well take weapon master.
You might as well.
I just
And it
designed
goes
that
for
way,
everything. I
Okay.
use it on all kinds of stuff. I use it on like people that I pick up. You never know. You never know. Rip a piece of a
Everything's a
wall
weapon.
off. Suddenly it's a weapon. Improvised weapon. But the disadvantage that I countered that with was insane.
Oh no, that sounds bad.
A big one.
And this is the whole like someone's mind overwritten onto someone else's brain. So there's still like those instinct parts. There's still that other being still tucked down in there. So sometimes the bear does gain control, does take over for a little while. You got this confused, like lost, trapped bear instincts running amok.
And then I picked explosives.
I mean, it explains itself really. I mean, she's got a +5 when she's creating explosives. She generally can make them with explosives kits, which are sort of there's a thing you just buy over the counter from ammunition stores. But also Cleo's been known to turn other sources, other sort of big, powerful battery energy sources into explosives with variable success. And she gets a +5 when she rolls doing that. Or if she wants to examine an existing explosive, disarm an explosive, anything with explosives, boom, +5.
Damn.
And that was a pretty good advantage, so I had to weight it with hated species.
Oh, no.
And that makes a lot of sense. The Ursine are well-known slavers living on sort of the fringes. They live on the outer rim. They live outside of civilized space where slavery is illegal.
Yeah.
So they're generally not well-loved, for obvious reasons.
And then I needed another one, so I picked clumsy.
Clumsy.
Clumsy. Damn, that's
clumsy. Clumsy is just the flip side to enhanced dexterity, obviously. So whenever she makes a dexterity roll or a stealth roll, she's got a -5 there. And this comes into play every now and then, especially because Cleo is a bit of get in there in your face sort of brawler type character. And perhaps because she is used to being like a nimble human who was actually very dexterous in her natural form.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting flip because at some point in our catalog, we do origin stories where for 4 episodes I had to play the human Cleo before the sleeving incident. And it was so different because I finally had dexterity.
But then what you were missing that Dear Cleo has, of course, is you've got your strength and durability enhanced.
So didn't have that.
+5 to both of those things.
And
Yeah.
I've got a little line coming off of clumsy that goes into no stealth. Which was obviously a reminder for me back then that I didn't always remember. So, and then I had strength and durability.
They kind of express that. I mean, if you want to lift something heavy with your strength, you got a +5 to doing that. Durability, I did mention earlier, if you got poison, for example, or if you're just literally just trying to stand your ground. Also, durability increases your base hit points up to 15, which
I
makes
like
Cleo.
heck points. I think heck points is definitely, how we...
I mean, is it canon now? Heck points.
Heck points.
You've taken one heck. That was a heck of a hit.
If only we'd been doing that from the beginning.
We can
To
do
be
it
honest,
now.
they're actually, in my original rule set, I wrote them down as wounds.
Wounds, the old school way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got that on my character sheet.
So then the numbers on Cleo, they do add up. So you got Weapon Master cost 2. Explosives Expert, that's another one, so 3. Strength, 4. Durability, 5. And your Minor Game Changer, 6 points you spent. That's 3 more than you're allowed. But it doesn't matter because you've got disadvantages, Clumsy, Hated Species, and Insanity, which bring you back down to 3 points, which is why Cleo is a perfectly balanced character.
Perfectly chef-kissed, balanced
yes.
character.
Hell yes.
And then you had an allocation of funds to spend on starting equipment, and Cleo started with a rifle, I believe, and a whole bunch of explosives kits.
Yeah, I
And
did.
That's sort of generally it.
And that was
along
it.
with the
I
sleeve
didn't
engine.
spend any money on medical kits. I didn't spend any money on armor because I felt like I was strong enough as a bear. And I also I went straight in on custom weapon because I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
okay, give me that
she's
shield
got
piercing.
a fancy custom gun. It's got shield piercing capabilities and all that sort of thing.
And does that custom gun have a name?
You know what it would say? She probably wrote her fucking name on it,
And then wrote custom
Cleo.
rifle on it?
like backwards, like Cleo's.
I love it.
Yeah, Cleo's custom rifle
It's
is
the
what we've
perfect
always
name.
called it.
It's the perfect name.
Yeah, if you got that in a video game and it's just Cleo's custom rifle, you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
And I definitely wanted to buy shit later though, because I made a note on here that says later energy gloves, 150 credits.
You never bought those either.
I never
you
did
never
buy
got energy
that
gloves.
because I have that bear claws move. And it's just I don't need him. The bear claw move is so good that I've never felt
The bear claw literally does the same amount of damage as the energy gloves would because that's part of
Right.
your bear body. So
yeah, and because I'm constantly making explosives, I find myself buying reagents way more than anything else.
Yeah.
So most of my money goes to food and reagents, just like real life.
So why don't we jump across the table here and have a chat with Dan about his character Dr. Z.
Dr. Z. So Dr. Z is a jellyfish from the home planet Unknown. Species, Atola medusa. Jellyfish floating in, to begin with, a fishbowl. that was then sitting on top of a robotic body.
A robotic body with like sort of like a vaguely strong glass bowl.
Like a glass bowl sitting atop some legs and some arms.
What was your general concept for him initially?
So, coming out of our D&D campaign where I'd played a coward who fled away from every bit of combat and whatnot, I kind of liked how that worked. So I wanted to make this character, Dr. Z, a bit of a weakling, couldn't take much damage. So while not cowardly, would still be, not the best person for tanking the hits. So I also wanted Dr. Z to be psychic and telepathic, being able to use that jelly brain to be able to reach out into the ether and affect things slightly. And then on top of that, I fancied Dr. Z to be, a good healer, but also a good hacker. So being able to get into both meat and machine to manipulate Z's will onto the world. So yeah, that's Z's whole thing.
I mean, you combine all that and it does make some sort of weird sense, eh? Sort of this alien surgeon / telepath / hacker. Like, I don't know, there's something in that. Like,
yeah. So I went with my advantages. I went with hacking.
So hacking. I mean, hacking gives him a +5 whenever he's hacking into things. He has to physically interface with systems, but like he can hack open doors, he can hack into computer systems, he can even potentially hack into robots and synthetics. Synthetics is what we call the artificial intelligence imbued robotic bodies, like a what would be called a droid in Star Wars, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a +5 when he does that. He's good at it.
I also went with telepathy.
Telepathy, that's one of those ones where he just has telepathy, that's what it does. It was because there is the ability to give yourself like a natural alien power as well, like at the DM's discretion. But I thought I'd put in a few like telepathy, telekinesis, the sort of the basic psychic ones, because it's sci-fi. Psychic powers makes a lot more sense than like superpowers and magic and stuff. So telepathy.
Yeah.
He can read minds, he can project his thought into others' minds, he can even literally take over other people's minds potentially, make them think things or do things they wouldn't have done on their own accord.
So then with telepathy, being able to inhabit someone's mind from a distance, we then combined both hacking and telepathy for a custom power, and it was called Natural Power Biohacking.
And that's just literally as Dan just described. Like Dr. Z can literally do a hacking roll and a telepathy roll, and he can use either of them basically to successfully getting into someone's brain. Yeah, say he succeeds with the hacking, he can like basically soup up his telepathy to like guarantee that he can biohack someone.
Yeah.
He has to physically touch them.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the way it kind of like reeled it back from being a bit overpowered, was that, as we said, Z is quite flimsy and so had to be right up next to the person or the thing or the entity to be able to even attempt to biohack.
It's got that sort of, that like sci-fi horror kind of element. He's always like a face hugger, this little jellyfish that like latches on and then takes over your brain.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Really enjoy it. And so then moving on over to how I use items. I went with Energy Blade because scalpels,
So that's the one-handed energy blade weapons. Like Dr. Z generally has like these scalpel-like knives. He's basically like a stabby, roguey kind of guy when he fights. But he could pick up any one-handed energy blade or even just like one-handed melee weapons. You have like taser sticks and so on, but there's also like you could just have a sword.
In the hands of a surgeon, still a good tool.
If you're on a primitive planet and you found one, he'd still be pretty good at using it, yeah.
And then finally for my advantages, I also went with medicine. Because what's the point of being able to understand all that anatomy if you can't fix it?
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, Dr. Z, he can use his medical role to like find out what's ailing someone, to perform just actual slow, careful medical procedures, but also more likely he use it with nanobot-driven medical kits, which technically anyone can use, but they do have to make a medical role to actually get the benefit from it. And he's got a very, very high chance of it actually succeeding, and he actually does bonus healing as well with his medical proficiency.
Has been useful.
Yeah.
And then over to the disadvantages, because that is a good list of advantages. Yeah, I went...
In fact, that's 5 points there you've spent on advantages.
So I went with vulnerable.
So that's the opposite to durable. It's while Cleo has bonus hit points, or heck points, Z actually has less heck points. He's only got 7, which means he can be taken out with a single shotgun blast if they roll maximum damage.
Yeah. It can happen.
He can just be, boom, there we go, he's dead.
It really can.
That can happen, technically. And also, like, if he gets poisoned, or like if he's just trying to like stand his ground, or anything that requires you to like put your durability to the test, or if he's just like, I don't know, like trying to do chin ups for as long as possible, all these sorts of things. He ain't great at. He's gonna have a -5, unfortunately.
Next up was weak. I'm a weak fella.
Again, that's the opposite of strength. I mean, we've got a bit of a yin and yang with Z and Cleo.
That's how you do it.
So again, like if he wants to lift heavy things, if he wants to like shove someone somewhere, if he wants to grab someone and wrestle them to the ground, any of these sorts of things, Dr. Z is going to have a hard time doing it. He's got a -5 on that.
Then finally, on my weaknesses, it's actually been fixed now. But my starting character had a broken arm, so I was only able to do 2 attacks a turn because I had a broken robotic limb.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And that's another thing as well. Obviously, like advantages and disadvantages, like over the course of the game, that can change. Because if you've got a broken robotic limb, a faulty prosthetic is what I called it.
Yes,
You can actually, if you have enough money, they're quite expensive, but if you have enough money, you can replace it.
Yeah.
And if you're like a robot, you can just literally add extra limbs, you can add extra things. If you're just someone who wears a robot suit, you could do that. Or you could just, you literally just craft extra electronic limbs. I mean, extra limbs, I don't know why that's the one thing I go for straight away, but like,
Yeah.
that is one of the options literally just baked into Orbital Refuse in its earlier stages. Because I imagine like, multi-limbed aliens or someone with a bunch of tentacles, there's all sorts of reasons why you might want to use that. So
For sure. And so, yeah, I've got 7 wounds. I have a energy shield.
And Dr. Z splashed out for an energy shield projector as well, which again, it turns him into like a sort of a support healer character because he can activate his own shield to defend himself. He can also project his shield out and defend other people.
Yeah, I wanted to do that medical type thing. Bit of a glass cannon. I quite liked how that sounded. And yeah, so medical kits, energy blade, which is 1d6, the shield projector. And yeah, I think that is Z.
Yeah,
In a fishbowl.
That's how Z started.
In a
Obviously,
fishbowl.
like
In a bowl.
Z in the modern continuity at least changed a bit. He's got a completely different body. Do we want to explain the honey boy, or is that?
So yeah, I guess at some point in the adventure, Z comes across the honey boy. Without giving too much spoilers away, there is a reason to change suits of armor, as it were, and Dr. Z comes across what is called the honey boy. It is an electric jelly suit.
It's a kind of nanoplastic.
Yeah, a jelly suit of nanoplastic that Dr. Z sits in and can manipulate, and it's kind of like flubber, can like reach out and move and whatnot. It's quite humanoid, and Dr. Z sits in the middle of it and can use that suit to be able to interface with people and also electronic devices for hacking purposes. So before, Dr. Z had to get out of the fishbowl and do some things, and now it's kind of all kept within and utilized from that honey boy.
And the honey boy is the sort of thing where these electrified nanoparticles that are being controlled directly through his telepathic link to the operating system that's sort of built into like the nanostructure of this thing. So that's basically if a piece gets chopped off, it just turns into like a nasty bit of dry plastic that can't be reassembled. But I mean, we have in the past, it has been revitalized with ridiculous, like, we'll zap it with electricity kind of thing.
But yeah, so then that's Z, and that's where Dr. Z is at currently.
So these two, they're buddies. They travel in space. Whereas they had another party member who joined them for a large portion of the first season, Herodotus, Arthurian member of the third.
Yes.
Evan's not here to explain the character, but I'll give you a brief rundown. I mean, Arthurian Mendoroth III, Herodotus, or Harry, as he's often referred to, we never really established exactly how old he is, but he is definitely an aged Terran military man. He's of noble birth. A decent pilot, but not a great shot. He's quite good at whacking people. He has a sort of a taser baton, a faulty prosthetic leg.
Yeah, he was quite slow.
But his big thing is that he's Mr. Moneybags. He had the money, so he had his personal starship. and he had a veritable supply of funds.
The pantry.
So he was a useful guy to have around. You'll have to listen to the first season to find out where Harry ends up.
And he was well connected, which was a really cool advantage that we did not touch with a 10-foot pole. And it got us into some cool places eventually.
We did use the well-connected a little bit. But yeah, like well-connected is one of those interesting things. Instead of having charisma, like I put in some different sort of more specific versions of charisma where you can be like, you know, connected to certain things and so on. And that was very much Harry's bag.
Yeah. So yeah, should we just jump into the world and
let's talk about the world. Let me get my little map out. So the Backwater Bastards takes place in a particular galaxy, and it's an area of space that is often it's just called the galaxy, or the Alliance of Three Worlds is another way it's been described, because it is a big, immense pocket of space, an entire galaxy that is basically controlled by three major factions. So you have the Terran Empire, who are the humans who came here eons ago, long ago, and just aggressively expanded and took over a very large section of space. Things, you know, they run a tight ship. They come in all sizes, shapes, and colors. They have lots of different philosophies. There's good people, there's bad people. But the Terran Empire is situated, definitely runs very aristocratic, military meritocracy kind of thing, where it's this sort of weird thing. You've got like one planet that's all like these sort of high-ranking officers who've got their way through space exploration and taking over planets and all that sort of thing, and war. And then you've got aristocratic body as well of all these well-to-do people who have inherited their wealth and power.
Mm-hmm.
But they run things from a planet called New Terra.
Okay.
If you're from our terra firma down here, you might know that they probably named it after their old planet. But the history of Orbital Refuse doesn't really go back far enough to talk about this Earth, so don't worry about that. You know, this is it's like Star Wars. Humans are just there. We don't know where they came from.
This isn't June. There's no Orange Catholic Bible or the stories of ancient Rome and Greece.
But then they are bordered by these two other main factions as well. So there's the Wraiths, who are like a tribal warlike species in general, but they're not a monolith. They don't all follow one thing. But at one point, when these divisions between these factions were drawn, the Wraiths had amassed into a giant army and were sort of actually going to war with the Terrans. But a treaty has been enacted, so that's not really a thing. And the Wraiths are sort of broken back down into family type groups. The Wraiths themselves, they are very sort of tall, insect-like almost creatures. Their skin's beige-ish, but they go from like a translucent white all the way to a very, very dark blacks and blues.
Oh, wow.
They're a species that as they reach maturity, they actually evolve. They have further mutations where their bodies become better suited to the jobs that they find themselves doing. And a lot of Wraiths actually, like in their adolescence, will actively go and seek out particular challenges to try and get their bodies to become powerful in the appropriate way. So Wraiths, they're actually quite a broad appearance species. They often have multiple limbs. They generally will have like 4 to 6 arms, but they can be tall and spindly or sort of squat and powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Wraiths have this system where there is a subspecies, monarch Wraiths, who are like a queen bee. They're the breeding class.
Mm-hmm.
So every Wraith clan, every Wraith warband is always led by a queen monarch who is basically like the brood mother of that entire clan, that entire family. And they are matriarchal, generally speaking, but a lot of the powerful warlords, traders, all that sort of thing might be sort of male drones. But the male monarchs, they're kind of just a kept people who are just there for their breeding capabilities.
Okay. And are they more bug-like or lizard-like in appearance, or how are they looking?
I mean, I've always gone for bug-like. They're not sort of full-on carapaced, but they have big eyes, sort of little small noses, and these spiny long arms, and that sort of thing. Technically, they are fleshy, carbon-based creatures, but they have an insectoid kind of appearance.
Mm-hmm.
I always picture like humanoids with praying mantis features.
Oh,
when I think of them,
I feel like that seems like a fear. I mean, some of them,
it's not a straight up praying mantis, but if a bipedal humanoid type animal had, evolved in a praying mantis like way.
Do you imagine them as being like thin praying mantises? Because I imagine them being quite chunky.
I imagine both, really, because
they're both,
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, they go both ways.
Because I think the Wraith Monarch Queen, I would picture being willowy and quite tall and quite curved, big scythe-like limbs.
Ooh,
You know? But then after Dick was talking about how wraiths seek out different challenges to adapt their bodies for the kinds of jobs that they want to do in their lifetime,
Yeah.
it made me think about how cool it would be to, as far as like character motivations go, to play a character who's specifically
Play an
doing,
adolescent wraith.
who's trying to do work because they want their body to become something. And I was thinking, if I made a different character, maybe I'd want to do that.
This is the ultimate. Why'd you get tattoos when you're 18?
Why'd you make a bear when you could have been a wraith?
No, I mean, why did you go and work at that paper mill the whole time when you were like...
Now you've got like extra fingers for fucking sorting through paper.
Yeah, but
It's
you
like
hate
a
paper.
cooler version of like the hero quest, right?
Yeah.
Because it's most tabletop games are sending like an individual on a hero style journey, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your goal is to become a hero.
Mhm.
But for a wraith in their society, the goal is to go out into the world or worlds and choose the journeys that will shape you for the life that you want to gain. So it's not to become a hero. It's more, I would like to become whatever, which is a little bit more relatable to us as people.
Well, so
Yeah.
I mean, Cleo went out and studied electronics and learned how to make bombs.
Yeah.
Which isn't that the same thing? Like she wanted to
It
be
totally
good at that.
is.
She said it. So like, but they're wraiths. Like literally, I want to have blades coming out of my elbows. So I'm just going to start smashing rocks with my elbows until I grow blades.
But
I
then
just
also
like
you're
don't
stuck
think
with
about it in a physical way, I think is what
Yeah.
I mean. Like I think about it in
Yeah.
like a studying way.
Well, I like the thought that out there somewhere there is a temple where wraith go to train in the martial arts, just like in Kill Bill. And there's a wraith that's got a long mustache that goes and whips the mustache to the side as the wraiths have to climb up the stairs every day with pails of water on their backs.
I mean, that's not something we've investigated, but I feel like there's got to be entire planets in the wraith
Yeah.
systems. Yeah, you go to this place to
like
get good at
uni.
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like it's so fundamental to their existence.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
That's
I know
really
it's
cool.
not like that far off from what people do, but it kind of feels
It's way more visible. You can look at someone and be like, well, I know what you spent your teenage years
Yeah.
doing. You know, like,
But that's
It's just
kind
got
of
one strong arm. Just like, oh.
And I mean, like the unfair
with
thing is that you
attachments.
can look at us and say, like, "Wow, I can tell that you did a lot of drugs when you were a kid."
Yeah, their nostrils are like hardened rocks.
bordering the Terrans on the other side.
Oh.
If, I mean, a big three-dimensional space environment could be considered the other side, but bordering both the Terrans and the Wraiths are the Synths.
Ooh.
The synthetic systems are a very ordered place. The Terrans and Wraiths and many of the other species of the galaxy know very little about. The other species of the galaxy don't know a lot about the synth
Okay.
world because most of them are not designed to support life, because why would they bother? They've actually inhabited a lot of systems and planets that don't have atmospheres, don't have oxygen. They have
Oh.
space stations that they don't bother to install life support upon because they don't
Which
need
is
it.
rude.
The synthetics. So the synthetics,
Rude.
they come from thousands of years ago, but they initially, they were all modeled after the one first truly sentient artificial intelligence.
Okay.
You know, they had complete control and could do exactly what they wanted and were perfectly self-aware. They were essentially living.
Yeah.
And that being, just using its own brain as a template, just created an entire army of these robot bodies filled with these blank slate synthetic minds, and just gave them free will, because that one AI did have controls over itself. It was controlled by the Terrans. So it created this army of truly free synthetic minds, and they took that one AI off and created their own little pocket of space, which eventually grew bigger and bigger, because obviously once they built factories and stuff to produce synths, they could grow quite big.
Okay.
So the synths have since, in the peacetime, they have put a halt on the production of new synths and are just sort of maintaining like a healthy number, because that's the big thing that the Terran Empire said, okay, we will not expand to any further planets, further systems. The Wraiths put limits on their breeding and their war making, and the synths did the same.
Okay. They're all just stagnant at the moment.
But the thing with the synths really is that they're not robots. They're not mind-controlled creatures. They're not like a hive mind or anything. They've been given that complete free will, because that's the philosophy behind the whole deal. I am a synthetic life form. I'm not a robot. I'm a synth. I'm not a droid. I'm a synth. They actually do appreciate a lot of art and poetry and these sorts of things, because they really want to be in touch with that side of themselves. They're not just these cold machines. They still do live in a very ordered, structured kind of world, because ultimately, like it's all run by computers and so on. But they they have like a surprisingly soft artistic side behind all that. And most of the synth that other species will encounter are actually the ones who have left the synth army because they have no real need to create, to make. So like all they really do is defend their territories, be ready for war, and make art. And that's it. There's nothing else
pretty great.
That there's any point in them spending time on. They don't need to trade with the other people. They don't need to make food. They don't need all these things. So it's all just creativity and war. That's really all they
What the heck? I love that.
Yeah, I really like that.
All they
a
do
lot.
is defend their territory, make war, and make art.
Yeah. And they pay their
God.
artists.
That did it for me, though. I was
I'm into it.
What?
We've not delved hugely deep into these. We've seen quite a bit of the Terran Empire, mainly through Harry. We've not seen a heck of a lot of the Wraiths or the Synths.
I want to be that now.
I love how like everything I described. Like, I want to be that. No, I want to be that.
Yeah.
One.
Well, because we
that's
went
how-
ahead
that's
and we
how
just
these
invented
things
our
should
own
be, isn't it?
shit.
But that's the thing. Like, so now I've described these three factions. You got to remember that there are a myriad of species because these three factions, they might control entire swaths of space, but
Right.
a lot of those planets that they're controlling are actually have their own indigenous populations. There are species beyond counting. So some of the more common ones that we've run into, for example, there's the Darks who come from the planet called Darkn, which is actually a system that orbits in and out of the Terran systems.
Okay.
And then on sort of like a converse orbit to Darkn is Dios, where Cleo comes from.
Indeed.
A planet that mostly stays within the human systems and every now and then goes out. The Darks, they're just sort of blue humanoid species, very similar to humans in terms of like their physical capabilities and so on, but they have blue tentacles on their head that they sort of slick back like hair and style.
Yeah.
Because they exist on the sort of the outskirts of the actual empire, a lot of them spend their time, like committing piracy and larceny and that sort of thing.
no.
As you do.
Because
As you do.
because they're technically like they're not beholden to the state, so kind of whenever they come in and even do any trade, they are effectively being pirates.
Okay.
As far as the Terrans are concerned,
That bureaucracy then.
but a lot of them can be found in mid-space, and I guess we should really talk about mid-space.
Yes. What is mid-space?
What is it?
Mid-space is a space station that's sandwiched in between these three Cold War empires. Is just a little spot of neutral space, and within that neutral space, there are sort of a few satellites and that sort of thing. But the main station is Mid-Space Station. It is a big metropolitan space station equipped with life support that was initially created as a kind of almost like a UN or a United Systems, whatever. It was supposed to be the place where these three empires would come and have peace talks. But now that the war is no more, it was abandoned and has basically been turned into a
Not that.
it's a criminal hub, really.
Oh.
It's a lawless place where people from all over the galaxy have decided to come in. In mid-space, there's this big, old, ancient thing created by all three of these empires. So it has Terran architecture in some places, real synthetic architecture in others, real key Wraith influences all over the place. And it has
That's so cool.
a lot of it's fallen into disrepair. So there's one side of it which they call like mid-space proper, which is where they've got all the lights running and they've got everything working, and that's where a lot of people live. Then there's an undercity, the night city they call it, where all the lights are off. And there's all these empty, unpowered skyscrapers, a dark, hidden, shadowy section of mid-space.
Damn, it sounds like a perfect place to set a campaign in.
Yeah, I mean,
Wouldn't you know it?
sounds like a cool place
Backwater
to have a hideaway or
Bastards,
something.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
Guess where we start our story.
Oh, okay. So mid-space is filled with these three different races and many, many more that live there. You mentioned synths. Now, are there robots? Are there droids? Do they exist? Can they exist? What's different about them?
So technically robots can exist. Robots with artificial intelligence within them do exist. But if they've been created, not as a replica of that original self-aware
Okay.
mind, then they generally are not considered a synth. Even though functionally they might have just as much life in them. They might be just as convincing a synthetic being. Like the synthetic, they call themselves that because of a philosophy of where they come from, really.
Okay, yeah.
And as well, there are legitimate, like there are artificial intelligences which are less lifelike, and there are robots that literally just have like sort of basic operating systems running them, and no sort of spark of self or self-awareness or anything that could really be considered a synthetic life form whatsoever.
Okay.
generally speaking, most traveling around the world doing my own thing, robotic bodies that you encounter, probably going to be a synth because like a robot just isn't going to have the drive to do that.
Okay. So I have a question. What is being traded in this world and amongst this universe? What is the currency?
Money.
Yeah.
Well, I got real creative in naming this
Oh,
one.
yeah?
Credits.
Credits. Brilliant.
Credits. Okay, but here's the thing, credits, it's
We
not...
need to rename this to Hecats.
But if you're traveling literally between different star systems, throughout the galaxy, there's no sort of unified like internet. There's certainly no unified banking system. There's no universal currencies. So some of these planets do have their own currencies, but generally trade, especially trade when you are living on the fringes, you're an adventurer traveling from planet to planet, is done in credits. And credits are literally the same power source that powers the ships, the blasters, the lights in your house.
It's a two-for-one.
Substance. Yeah, it's a substance called star sand.
Okay.
I got real creative in naming that one as well. It has its own indigenous name in the Wraith language, but it's hard to say with a human voice. But it does literally translate into star sand because the Wraith have very literal names to all their things. Like they've got a planet where all the Wraith seers live called Future Gaze.
Oh.
I love that.
They've got another planet that's just called Battle.
Okay,
I really like that, though. It's a name it what it is kind of deal, especially when you're dealing with lots of languages at once in like a super... I mean, how many different aliens are going to come across a thing? It is what it is.
So the Wraiths, they're on the outskirts of Wraith space, and this is what allows them to maintain their power. Although they are this disparate, scattered group, they control this one planet called Sand, which is where the star sand comes from. All the star sand in the galaxy all comes from this one place, because this place is just full of it. And it's a substance that, in its raw form, you can just put in a little vial and be like, that's a credit,
Yeah.
That's credits. That's, this vial, like it weighs this much. That's 10,000 credits. It's pretty simple, but it can be refined and turned into the sort of the battery cell packs that power everything else. So you can create these energy shields, these energy blasts, these plasma cannons, these warp coil engines that let your ship just blast, across the galaxy.
So what I'm hearing is that if we have just been paid for a job and we're in a pinch and we need to get the ship to fly a little bit faster to get us out of there, we can start feeding our credits, our literal payday money into the ship, into the engine to try and get that extra boost of speed out or start loading those credits into our guns and start firing them off.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. I mean, because it started the other way around. People were just trading in like loose star sand because that's what you used to power everything. So it was the most uniform medium of trade because all the technology runs off it. It's the one thing everyone needs. Over the years, it got codified into credits because it's made a lot more sense. Credits, like a lot of them just like rock around existing entirely just as a means of trade. But obviously they can be converted directly into fuel as well if you want.
Okay. So, physical, tangible money.
So... no credit cards?
Very astute. Very astute. No, money is purely tangible. There's obviously, you could be on a planet and you could be in a city on that planet and you could go to the bank and you get a credit card. But as soon as you go somewhere else, it's going to be no use to you. That's the basic gist of it.
So I have another question about all of these races, all these different species and different factions that exist across this myriad of planets and systems and stations. Are they all, this one is this one is that, and they stay within those bounds? Or is there a mixing? How to word it? Do things stay as they are in this universe?
Are there defined boundaries?
I mean, not the way we play it. I mean, it's a shifting universe. I mean, making massive, glaring changes to the status quo is a big choice. But we're a podcast. We need to tell stories. So obviously, things going to change.
So we'll find wraiths on other ends of the galaxy. We'll find synths.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a cosmopolitan galaxy. Like, if you go to any sort of like major like sort of trading hub or city, you'll find people from everywhere.
Okay, cool.
If you're on Terran system, it's probably going to be mostly humans. But when I say mostly, I mean like maybe 50%. Like, there's still going to be a lot of other people. You go to mid-space, it's just absolute mishmash.
Yeah.
Every person you see is some other completely different species.
And so this piece has been happening for how long?
The piece has been going for about 1,000 years.
And so with this piece, it doesn't feel like it's breaking. It feels pretty intact and people are comfortable to just live their lives across the stars.
Well, it's one of those things where the synths, they don't forget. They're kind of a little bit immortal.
Okay.
But then they do have synths choosing to end their existence and they can create a new one. And they do have, like, obviously, in skirmishes and battles and stuff, defending their territory. So there are young synths as well as older ones, but like as a whole, as a thing, like they're
got a book of grudges going on over there with the synths.
Dope.
But the wraiths have, like, it's been 1,000 years, so they've taken to fighting amongst themselves for control of like sections of sand and that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah.
The Terrans, they have an expansionist mindset, so they might sort of look to sort of taking things over. But then again, like the way things have sort of settled down, like synth space can't really like you can't live there if you're a living thing. So there's not much point for them expanding that way. And then there is just a giant, massive, light years wide asteroid belt called the Shattered Wall that actually just all the sort of easy routes that you can do in a reasonable amount of time between Terran space and Wraith space. It's just blocked off by this wall. So that's that's really helped to keep the peace as well.
Okay. Wow. I'm going to need some kind of crazy pilot to navigate through that shattered wall.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, there is a single planet in the Wraith worlds called First Now. It's a semi-independent planet where the pilots from there, they do trade with the Wraiths a fair bit because they have a lot of pilots who can navigate the wall.
Ooh. Sounds very cool.
Well.
Useful people to know.
We're going to need to meet them.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we play our game, right? Like you can use these rules, and there's a lot of finer points that we're still figuring out, right? Like, I mean, Dick is working on a lot of things that we haven't even played yet. So this truly is like an alpha test because we are playing the skeleton of this system, and you might be looking for a rule that you think probably lives here because you've seen something happen in the show that you didn't hear because maybe we haven't written that rule down yet. Like I've got a lot of screen caps saved of like moments in the game where we were playing and we like went, that could be a rule. That we should make a rule for that. There's now precedence for this thing. And so then we make crappy little screenshot because now a rule must be written. And that takes a minute for anybody out there who's ever actually built a game or anything, any kind of like structure. Like you have to really pull that shit out of you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I did try to make things as like broad, like this one set of rules. This is going to be able to do anything you want to do, and for the most part, it works. But obviously, shit happens when you realize, what happens when you do this? Like, what happens? Oh, I want to help someone do the thing they're trying to do. It's like, okay, how does that work? Or all these sorts of things. So. There's more to it than what we've unveiled in this episode, but you'll get there through the podcast. If you're in here for the ride, then you'll work out what's going on as we do. But the way we play is very story driven. It is very improvised as well. Like we tell these epic space opera stories, but we play it like a game. It is a tabletop RPG game. You can roll the dice on something that you should be easily succeeding, and you can fail at it. And it does mean that we got to think on our feet a lot, and the whole thing is massively improvised and collaborative storytelling, which I think is, to me, like the whole point of these kinds of pen and paper games anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's fun, right? Because we're just...
beyond what you can make happen.
We're going out there. We're doing this. This is like, and a lot of people have asked if we pre-write anything. We don't. The only person that does any real planning is Dick. So... So Dan and I come to every game.
I set up a bunch of dominoes, and I hope that you guys shove the right one in the right direction.
Instead, they get blown up and thrown into every different direction. Slashed.
As I expected. But I have story arcs. I know where I want to go with things. I know what the NPCs are planning. I know what the baddies are up to. So there's a certain element of control here. I have an omnipotent god behind this universe, obviously, but
kind of.
Ultimately, the bastards are a spanner in the works, and hey, I think that's a whole lot of fun. I think that is their role to play.
That's how it's a game for Dick. And we are an edited show. Dan does all of that editing.
Yes.
So, we don't make these sound effects with our mouths.
And if we're sitting around for too long discussing a rule that you've just heard described in this episode, then, often that is cut to make it smooth and quick.
Yep.
Sometimes, like the storytelling is more important. We want to keep the momentum.
Yes.
If we're something particularly dramatic, for a dramatic effect, sometimes we keep all our dice rolls, but
You'll hear the
get
dice
it
roll
out.
sound. It sounds like this. And that plays every time we do a dice roll in the real game.
Oh, look at that! A
And
natural.
that means that in
damn it.
real life, when we get a natural one, we don't get to hear that sound.
And so what if we rolled a natural 20? How would that sound? Ding. Oh, it's glorious.
Hey, like I don't know how you managed to roll a 20 just
Well,
like that.
just like
on
that.
command,
Yeah.
but
It
there we
never
go.
actually works like that. We really don't get to roll a lot of 20s.
And this is a house rule. I don't know that it's necessarily part of Orbital Refuse as a whole, but we always like to, if there is a D20 or a D1, like or there's a natural 20 or a natural 1 rolled on a D20,
Yeah.
we like to roll a percentile
Oh, yeah.
dice
Oh, yeah.
just to see like
The
how
flavor.
percent
Just to jerk it
good or
up
bad it is.
a notch. That's just fun.
Because frankly, like, like a 20 is like, yes, you succeed beyond your wildest dreams. Or a natural one is like, you have fucked this shit up bad,
Badly,
boy.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we roll that percentile. So if you rolled a natural 1 and then you roll a 100, then things go as bad as they possibly could. It's got to be full on Murphy's Law,
Painful.
So if you were doing something potentially lethal,
If you want to know how that
I'm
feels,
sorry.
you can ask Dan, because I think he had one game where he almost did that like 3 times in a row.
Yeah. I mean, and I won't say too much more, but yes, it happens.
That's it. Yeah, that's all you need to know.
I mean, not yet have I managed to kill a main character,
Yeah.
but I mean, one day, there's what are the chances? It's like
What do you mean one day?
it's what's 20 times 100? It's like 2,000. There's a 1 in 2,000 chance that that one of you guys will do something stupid, roll a natural 1, roll a natural 100, and
But it has to be
that's
based
gonna
on the
have to
right.
be that's going to have to be an insta kill.
It has to be the right context though as well, right? Because that has happened, but the context wasn't
Oh, yeah.
life threatening.
I mean,
in that
yeah.
situation.
Exactly. Like it's whatever you're doing goes as bad as the cat. It's like you can't be like, okay, I'm stitching a little patch onto the elbow of my jacket, and then
yeah.
natural 1, natural 100. Oh, the jacket explodes and I die. No.
Yeah.
No, you probably just stab yourself a little bit and take 1 point of damage.
Yeah.
But
This is a super dangerous game,
This-
but it's not that dangerous.
Yeah.
it's a big thing. Like as a dungeon master, I really try to do is be this arbitrator for realism within the confines of this hyper real, almost anime like action environment.
Yeah.
So there has to be consistent logic and physics to how everything works, and that is the one thing that this system is predicated on. Is like, yeah, you can make storytelling choices in combat, but if you're trying to do something that doesn't make any sense, it's not going to work ever, no matter what you roll.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a lot of responsibility, but I'll take it on willingly.
And because we play like this, there's a lot of moments where, we kind of lean on each other because we've played together for a while now. It's been years. And we're used to each other. And like,
We read each other's minds.
yeah. And if you're playing with a team and you're playing like, maybe you're playing this system, you're playing Orbital Refuse. And like, maybe you've never played with these people before. You're playing with a brand new party. And there's a lot of stuff that you can do to make that go easier and sound more like what we're making, because this is not a pre-written show. This is a show where we sit around and we completely like raw improvise what we're doing.
Yes.
And at this point, Dan and I have play styles that have evolved around each other, and so we're doing a lot of things like where we're giving each other space to have moments, and we're giving each other pieces, and sometimes that's like purely a verbal thing just so that you can hear what we're doing, like sometimes we make noise while the other one's talking. That helps a lot, I think. Like Dan is, and I'm like, I'm trying to open a bag, like we make a lot of noise. We cut each other off a little bit without destroying what
You
the
got to
other
be
one is
comfortable
saying.
with your teammates, otherwise,
you have
know.
to. You have to.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, this is full on behind the curtain now. Like, how do we make the podcast
Yeah.
sound sort of the way it does?
I mean, it is like
interrupt one another.
sometimes we, start a
Healthy.
sentence while the other one is still talking, and it's not to interrupt. It's purely to create like a conversational feeling. Like this is a conversation that's actually happening because we're trying to make a word picture for somebody who doesn't get to see our faces.
Yeah.
And like,
so,
that
I mean, I
helps
remember,
in saying
Taylor,
yes.
we had one person ask us, when I play with my friends and I try to do something that Cleo and Z would do together, when I did it, it didn't work, and the other person got angry, and the other person didn't like it. And well, that's just, you got to play to.
You got to know your
It's
audience.
really important to set expectations at a table.
We could piss one another off as well if we did things that the other didn't like. We try not to do things that one another don't like. You can't just. You can't just like barge in with your own play style. You got to play with the team, and that's why what we do works. Is because we've codified it. We know, like what we like
but
to
we
do.
also know that not just because we've been together for a while, but because we talk about it. And so a lot of the stuff that gets cut out is, sometimes we approach it in different ways too, right? Like sometimes it's fine, it's not a really big move, so you kind of approach it in character, right? In costume, I was about to say. And sometimes
this is real life.
As Cleo, I'll be like, well, what do you think it would be
costume.
like if we just did this? Like, let's get in the car and and then if Z's not about it, then they'll say. And then maybe I'll kind of get that and go, okay, I'm gonna maybe like offer up some other ideas. But if it's something really contentious that could kill us, I might pause the game for a moment and just be like, can we talk about this for a moment? And a lot of people don't love that at their table because, metagaming. But that's okay at our table because we aren't playing like a raw game.
It goes back to that rule 1 that of collaborative storytelling. The main important thing that we always want to do when we're playing, whether it's for the podcast or for our own personal enjoyment, is
we're building a thing together. All the time. Everything that we do, we're building a thing.
I do not show up to sit in this seat and play with y'all and be like, I'm going to make sure that I get all the kills, and then I get all the loot, and then I get all the winnings, and then when I go to the tavern, the bards will sing songs of me. That is the way I want to play the game. Like, no, I'm super stoked if I fail. I think some of the best times
everything that you
fails.
do is part of your story, and that's the thing, like Taylor mentioning that, like maybe Cleo's got an idea, it's like, oh, I think we should do this, and then Dr. Z like disputing that, and it becoming like a back and forth.
It's real life.
That is the characters planning.
Yeah.
Like that is part
It's
of the
not
story.
metagaming.
Planning the things they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean that's how I like to play. This here, the product that you're experiencing is my optimal play environment. Like I'm with people that I like. We get each other. We understand what kind of play we all don't like. It's a collaborative experience where we're constantly helping one another move into the next space, and we're doing it together because we're playing as a team. And that's not every game. There are games where people have different play styles, where the expectation is different. But before you play anything ever, you need to know what everybody's expectation is, and like, it's such a big deal. It's the only reason this works. It's the only reason this works. You can have any game system in the world. You can have any rule book. You can know the rules really well or not at all. It could be the first day you've ever played or the 5,000th time that you could be a DM or not. But if you don't have the expectation sorted and you don't know what everybody, how they think it's going to go, what kind of vibe they think, like some people don't like the RP.
Yeah, for sure. They're strange, but they exist.
That's out there. I mean,
some people are grid people and they just want to follow squares on a map, and they don't want to do.
There's always been a lot of that, like
for sure.
I mean, why not?
And that's another big thing about how we play too, is like our character creation concept. Like, we don't build characters full out in the beginning. Like, we don't write pages of backstory. And you know what? Before we go any further into that, I think that's a super valid way to, build a character. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think like Dick said once to us that like, if you already are a hero and then you're about to start a campaign, like, then what?
Yeah.
Why would you put the most interesting stories about your character in the past?
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're playing a campaign, these should be those days. These should be the cool things. Like, how often do you watch a movie or a TV show and like characters will be talking about a thing that happened in the past? Be like, why aren't we watching that then? Why aren't we watching that movie?
Exactly.
Like, don't be that, like, I mean, the way we've done it with the Bastards is that they do have some cool stories in their past, but we leave them untold so that we can do flashback episodes and actually.
But it's
go
also
and do
because
those.
we don't know them yet. I mean, as Tay says, it's completely valid. If you like to write backstories, then do it. But I, the way we play and the way we've played for years before this game and in our previous campaigns, like our character backstories have never really been more than a paragraph because we figure it out as you're adventuring, and it was quite unintentional that we did it that way, but it then led to us being able to have a few episodes where we go back into the past. But it's
important to us. I think it's kind of become the cornerstone of how I see character creation now, because we've done that for a couple years. And I mean, like, when I was learning how to be a teacher, they told us that, like, specifically in that topic that we were learning to teach, they were like, people have acquired knowledge already just from hearing language, because it was ESL. So they were like, people already have the words in their body that they've heard. And if you're learning a language, you already have so much knowledge in your body. And like, if a teacher is teaching you a language and they just give you a word, then it's kind of like, all right, you might not remember it. But if they can get you to proffer forth the word out of your own body, like if they can elicit the word from you, then the meaningful learning that happens in your brain, like the connections and the synapses that are built, like by those like interactions of like you going into the mine of your brain and bringing forth knowledge that you already had that you didn't even know was there, is so powerful. And it helps you remember, it helps you learn in a more meaningful way. And I feel like when we learn our characters through living them over a period of time, like, I mean, that builds them way better than I could have. Being Cleo built Cleo better than
then you could have
than I ever could have done it myself. Like,
no, for
because
sure.
I didn't know
mean,
who she was when we made them. We didn't know them, and I think that's completely changed character creation for me forever.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
I mean, you had like an accent and a notion of making bombs. Much, right?
And I saw a picture of something like from an anime that I liked.
Yeah.
There was like a bear with a robot arm, and I was like, I want to be that.
Yeah.
So, guys, there's a lot more we could say, but I think that about wraps up. Like as good a sort of a one episode explanation of what we are, what Backwater Bastards is, as we're going to muster. What would you reckon?
I mean, it makes me want to now make a whole new character and play again.
What are you going to be?
I'm definitely going to be a wraith.
I want to be a wraith and a synth, though.
I know, completely same. I also want to be a synth.
I need 2 more characters.
Yeah. Wait, maybe we could be one of us is a wraith, one of us is a synth, and then
flip flop it. Peanut butter jelly.
Imagine a story about 2 friends traveling the universe. One is like a hulking, massive like muscle and damage and carnage, and then the other is like a skinny, like weak little thing.
Because they're both wraiths, but they both have dreams.
Yeah.
Which one is which? I mean, I like they're quite an odd couple as well. Because like the wraiths are all about the physical, whereas the synths are all about
the next time we do that, though, Dan, you have to be the big one. You have to be the strong one.
Yes, I'm going to be the strength.
But also, like, I also want to be 2 bad little synths.
Oh yeah, 2 bad little
synths that are protecting their front yard, making their art together, and fighting.
Oh yes. Robots.
It's just
synths.
two bad synths, and it's like
I
the
love
number
it.
2.
I really love it. Okay, one shot at some point. Have to do it.
Okay, 2 one shots.
But yeah, Dickie, I mean, that was a lot of stuff to unload. How are you feeling now after going through the rules with us?
Oh, it feels good. It was good to like dig out my star map and sort of like talk about like all the initial setup stuff that we haven't necessarily, because there's just so much of this galaxy that we haven't got to explore yet, and I'm kind of excited to think like, oh well, we are going to explore some more of it.
Heck yes. And best part of this entire conversation, heck points. Love it.
Points.
Heck points. Okay, well you heard it here, folks. It started here. Heck points. If we release like boom, here's like the physical book, little hardcover, gorgeous art,
which
on the
is going to
front,
come,
and you get to the character sheet and it just says heck points on it. You know where that came from. It came from right here, right now.
Yes.
Sorry.
Heck points.
And what about people now who want to go out and maybe start their own little adventure based on the rules that you've given here today?
Well, you know what? There's no official booklet. There's no like full detailed rule set. But for Patreons, we are going to drop a little treat. It's the advantages and disadvantages list. It's an example character sheet. It's all the things you need in conjunction with this episode to come up with your own little concept and make a character that works within the Orbital Refuse world. If you've got any particularly sort of, like dungeon master abilities, you could even run an Orbital Refuse game, I think, with that basic information. If you want to know more about it, like by all means, pop onto the Discord and just ask me, because I am happy to field any answers. If you've got some weird questions, like what happens if this happens, that actually, if it's something I haven't already thought of, could be very useful for me.
Heck yeah.
I mean, hey, early access-ish to the closed beta, I suppose.
Yeah, so I mean, like if you're hearing that, like, oh, I don't want to join the Patreon to get that, well, you don't have to. You can just wait. The book will come out eventually, but this is purely just if you want to get an early hands-on, then it's going to be.
I mean, it's
there
a
on
curiosity thing. Like you can play the game. You might not be playing the full thing. You might not be playing it right. You're not going to have any maps or any item lists or anything, particularly thing. But if you got the chops to do it yourself, like we've been, then why the hell not?
Why the heck
make
not?
a character, show it to us.
Or if you just want to make a character and share it and show us, like, hey, here's my character. I'd love to see that, because like that's the thing I really like about the system is that concept-wise, you can do a lot of stuff. You can go crazy, and I'm sure you can probably break the system too. But hey, that's part of the fun.
We'll even make a Discord channel specifically for showing off character sheets in there, just to have a look at all the creations.
Oh, that's a good idea. And I mean, it doesn't hurt that it might make anyone who's not a patron feel jealous.
FOMO.
Feel a bit of FOMO.
You can't say that, Dickie.
I'm just being honest.
just like,
hey, you could spend like £2. Take it. Cancel.
you could.
It's very cheap.
You could.
It's very cheap if you just wanted to sign up and get
This is true, Dickie.
the price of a piece of fancy fruit.
Price of a piece of fancy fruit. And otherwise, other than that as well, if you do join the Patreon, you decide that we are worth your intergalactic credits, then you'll also get access to our sidearm, which is our side podcast where we just ramble and chat before our games. And it's just us, just hanging out, being friends.
It's not super dissimilar to what we've just done.
It's not, but it's just hanging out and chatting. We also have Raloran up on our Patreon, which is our entire first campaign. It is a D&D 5th edition game set in Dick's own world of Raloran.
Yeah, you want to hear us do fantasy? You want to hear us do D&D? It's all there. You want to hear Taylor's arrival on the scene.
Ooh.
She showed up halfway through us doing that, and you can hear her very first episode in Raloran.
Yeah. It wasn't halfway through. It was like episode 20. But
well, yeah, not really halfway through. A little bit into the
tiny step into the
Almost.
campaign. We were blessed with the Tay.
Yeah, and I never left.
Yeah, Tay was meant to come literally for one episode, and then
Can't get rid of me.
yeah.
And then I feel like we did like half an episode, and Dan was like, sign on. I was like, yeah, you reckon she want to stay here? Because she seems very
Mom, Dad, can Taylor stay the night?
Dan is like, oh my God, she's still here, you guys. What the fuck?
And I shouldn't have done that, because later on I realized what type of character you would play. And that character, while I thought was Baron DeBorch's best friend, but apparently
No, listen, it
five
was like
fingers went
Hakes took your money one time
one time
and held it for you and then bought you stuff with it.
which then the Baron was very grateful for.
Yeah, so like it was totally fine. And then she healed you once. Like, oh my God, that was so helpful.
Also, the Baron would have been so drunk he wouldn't have remembered. You're like, oh, I have money. I lost my money. I should probably spend it. Yeah.
Hakes knew you were too drunk to have your own money. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
Also, I just found some.
it was a different world, man.
I can't wait to go back to Raloran. I cannot wait.
Ooh, you hear that, people?
Well then.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Hope you liked this very special episode.
Yes. And please come back next time.
I don't think there's anything more to say than bye.
Bye. Okay, now we get to go and play a game.
Tune in next time for another edge of your seat adventure in space with the Backwater Bastards.
If you enjoy listening, but also have eyes, check out our Instagram, where we post drawings, illustrations, character art from our adventures. Backwater_Bastards. Check out our Instagram on Instagram.
Alright, yes, so now I understand the rules. Alright, we can start battling again. Everyone, positions. Yeah, no, you were over there, don't you cheat.
Oh, but I've still got 3 energy. I didn't even do nothing really much.
How many did I have?
Oh, you had 3 as well, Cleo. I think but...
Are you sure? But I made a tiny character.
It's just fine. We all have 3 energy. Okay,
Even if you're small?
it was my turn, wasn't it? Yes, I think it was my turn. Yep,
Can
all
it
right.
be my turn next?
Yes, it's Cleo's turn next. Alright, and 3, 2...
What were those hard berries on the table? Those are gone now.